Adam, let me switch over to the college football playoff here because you seem to have a better understanding and more data points on how the college football playoff committee chooses the 12 teams better than anybody I've seen. And I believe in our conversations, and I think from what you said publicly as well, like on Twitter, the Alabama decision, it appears to be a huge outlier from not only the other teams that were penalized in rankings for losing in conference championships, but also historically what they've done kind of over the course of their rankings, whether in the 4 or 12 team playoff. Why is Alabama such an outlier?
It's the whole situation is an outlier. Like, so there were two unprecedented things that had to happen for Notre Dame to get left out. One, an idle team jumping an idle team for no reason. Okay, there was no further data on either team.
Mm-hmm.
They just, I understand the head-to-head argument, right? But up to this point, the committee had shown, and our model had shown, that Notre Dame's profile was still superior to Miami's, despite the head-to-head result. Okay, so they were ranked where they should have been. So that had to happen. Miami had to jump Notre Dame, which in itself is unprecedented. The other unprecedented thing is Alabama was beaten handily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were drubbed in the SEC championship game, and they didn't drop not even a single spot. That's unprecedented. Okay, those two things happened at the same time to knock Notre Dame out. So I think they got railroaded. This is the biggest outlier, anomaly of any college football poll that we've seen in the past decade. There was some funny business going on here with this one. Like I typically I can look at it and I can look at the profiles and I can kind of explain, okay, the series of if-then statements they have to go through for strength of schedule, game control, quality wins, top 25 wins. This is why they moved this team in this spot. Okay, there was none of that for Notre Dame. Notre Dame was inexplicably left out of the playoffs for I don't know if it's because they wanted to get an ACC team in there because people always talk about the ESPN SEC bias. The ACC is part of that as well. So yeah, that's why I have the Notre Dame shirt on today. If I'm an Irish fan, I am irate because they completely were railroaded on all this.
So real quick, so during the course of the broadcast, I thought it was really interesting because it was brought up by the broadcast team that if Alabama gets left out, then the SEC could counter with, well, then why would we play a championship game? And to me, obviously, we know who owns that inventory, and that's a very valuable property for that entity. That entity also happens to be the one that owns and operates the college football playoff. Is it too tinfoil hat-y to think that part of their motivation here is, hey, we don't want to lose a super valuable piece of inventory? Or, like, I don't know, I'm having, like you said, you're having a hard time finding the ways in. If I'm having a hard time finding the ways in that make sense logically and by their system, I have to start thinking of other motivations, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, and you're right. That's a lot of money that would be if the SEC said, okay, we're just not going to play conference title games anymore. Companies have done a lot worse for a lot less, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, what needs to happen here is Fox, NBC, CBS need to have a stake in the college football playoff, and can't all be owned by one entity. Break it up across different networks. That way, it's not. At least it gives the illusion of, hey, there's not such a huge bias here by one TV network that owns the whole thing that they're going to try to shoehorn an Alabama team in there who hasn't been the same for the past month. It's hard for me to grasp. And honestly, anymore with how bloated these conferences are, what do we have conference title games anyway for? I mean, get rid of them and move the season back, and let's start this thing early and get over by New Year's.
You said, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, go ahead.
So I want to get there's a couple of statistics that we talk about a lot that maybe you can quantify in terms of how much they actually mean. One in particular, you guys both mentioned, is game control. It's been a new one over the last couple of years that people use a lot. When you look at game control metrics, I'm sure you have to buoy it against explosives or something like that in terms of big plays. But where would you put game control in terms of a predictive stat when you're watching the course of a game play out over time? Like, what do your numbers say?
So explosive plays do have an impact, but what has a bigger impact, and what this has kind of been our pet project actually for like the past month, Dave and I, is trying to define momentum in college football. Okay. Like everybody talks about, we've gained momentum. We've got, momentum is defined. And we've figured this out that if a team is able to score consecutively back to back, or the defense is able to come out and deny an offense from scoring back-to-back scoring possessions, your chances of winning, and this is kind of a water is wet moment. Okay, yeah, if we score back-to-back and keep the other team from scoring, that's no kidding, we're more likely to win the game. But in the context of, you hear it in the coaching community all the time that, hey, we've got to win the middle eight. We've got to win the middle eight. Let's play for the middle eight. We have completely just made that moot, that whole middle eight discussion moot. Okay, you come out there, and the data has shown this. We've ran it for the past. It's play-by-play data since 2006, I think. Right? If you come out there swinging, and you immediately go up 2 scores, I think 17 points is the cutoff. If you come out and you score 17 points consecutively, no matter when you do it, usually the biggest indicator is in the first quarter. Okay, if you can come out and do that, you're going to win. I think it's like 87% of the time. So the teams that come out and defer, the teams that come out and play conservatively for that middle eight, you're not doing it. Okay, at least in college football. NFL it's a different story. NFL is a different game. All right, but in college, right now, what we have been able to show is that if you come out swinging, throwing haymakers immediately, take the ball, and try to gain that momentum quickly, you're going to win that game more often than not. Okay, and like I said, the only mitigating circumstance there is if you have a bad offense and you're going against a superior defense, and you have a superior defense. Okay, then you need to maybe defer, but all other points, our data is showing, hey, you need to take the ball, you need to come out swinging, and you need to score first.
Interesting. What about, so do you have any new data or data that you guys are finding interesting? I love the game control thing because people, they talk about it very, very casually as if they have a good command on what it, quantifying it, which the momentum thing is a fascinating offset to that. Well, let me ask you about this. Is there a new or other data in special teams over the last handful of years that has become more relevant than maybe we know or that you guys would have thought when you're crunching numbers? Is there anything about special teams we're missing? Teams that don't return the ball, teams that do return the ball, average starting field, things like that you think are, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, we've taken a look at that. So it instead of having just an overall generalized philosophy of, hey, we're going to return the ball out every time, or hey, we're going to take a touchback and take it to 25 every single game, we've tried to break it down for our clients. Hey, you need to look at the opposing team special teams, which sounds kind of, again, a water is wet moment there, but you need to take that into account. Okay, the mindset of, hey, we're going to impose what we do on people no matter who they are, that works in some aspects, but not in special teams, especially not in the return game. If you're going against a good special teams unit, take the 25 yards. Okay, don't try to bring it out and lose, because that sometimes that 3 or 4 yards that you're not getting, on a kickoff return or whatever it is, that's the difference in you getting that last first down, or the difference in you being in field goal range as opposed to being out of field goal range. You have to take that into account. This another rabbit trail here. But,
I love rabbit. This is fascinating. You can give me all the bunny trails you want.
All right. So the go no go chart that ESPN always has on their graphic part. The analytics say go, analytics. Okay. That's a generalized average of every football game that's been played for the past or whatever years, right? That's not who you're playing. You're not playing a generalized average team, right? You know who you're playing. You know the ability of that defense you're playing. You know the ability of your offense. We don't give our clients, hey, generalized over the past 10 years, here's what most teams do. That doesn't do anybody any good, because you're not, you have very specific things going on in that game, and very specific units you have, and very specific units you're going against. So we're able to take, hey, here's the quality of that defense. Here's what they're good at. Okay. Here's the quality of your offense. Here's what you're good at. This is your no-go zone here. Okay, for this game, for this specific game.
And just last night, right? This was 4 turnovers with Philly up to that point. They hadn't even had the 5th yet. And it was 4th and 3, and Los Angeles punted. And the Aikman and those guys were like, hey, analytics say go for it here. I'm like, yeah, but Philly can't move the ball. And it's you got a chance to get this into overtime.
Or like, what if you're Nebraska this year and you're bad in short yardage on offense? Like, your go is probably a lot shorter.
I mean, just to your point, you know what I mean? It's just this is fascinating.
Specificity matters a lot in these go no go situations.
Exactly. Every football is such a circumstance game, right? Every single down, every single play, every single circumstance is typically, there's a variable in there that's different than the last time you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you take a generalized, blanket statement of, okay, this is when you should go, this is when you don't, over a game that has so many variables in it? It doesn't make sense. And that's where a lot of coaches and a lot of staffs fall short on this stuff is, hey, analytics say go for 2, okay? Or analytics say I should go for it here, 4th and 3 from my own 45 up 10. Don't do those things. I mean, because you're trying to win the game, right? At the end of the day, who cares what the generalized analytics says? In this game, you should punt that ball and play defense, because you have the better defense, and their offense is subpar. If you punt that ball, there is an X% chance that you're going to hold them and you're going to get the ball back anyway.
All right.
Don't take the risk for it and give them a helping hand.